technology.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maya Luria with TMC for Seniors, and we are starting back with lots of presentations this month on fall prevention. Today, I have Janella Livingston here with me. She is with the Tucson Fire Department. She is going to be talking about a home safety check, a fall prevention walkthrough. Welcome, Janella. How are you today?
Good, how are you? Sorry, my apologies.
No worries. We've got you all set up here. I've gone ahead and put your PowerPoint up so that the audience can hear you. If you have a question for Janella afterwards, please put those questions into the chat and I will ask her when she finishes. Thanks, Janella.
All right. Once again, my name is Janella Livingston and I'm a fire and life safety educator for Tucson Fire Department. I've been with the department 4 years. If you were expecting a firefighter today, I'm not one, so I'm sorry to disappoint you ladies. But I'm an educator. That's my job, is to go out and educate. I educate preschoolers all the way up to older adults. And so this is an NFPA presentation called Steps to Safety. It talks about tips to prevent fires and also tips to prevent falls. Okay, so the first area that we're going to talk about today are falls. Fire, sorry. Fire is the first area we're going to talk about. Long thing. So, have any of you had a fire in your home before? Yes? Was it a total loss or did you just have an accidental fire?
Not a total loss, but we were out of the house for 6-7 weeks.
Oh, so you just recently had one?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We were all home.
You were all home, but you got out safely? Did you have working smoke alarms in your home?
Yep.
We're going to
3
talk.
weeks prior.
Perfect. What a blessing that was, right? Did it happen at night?
Nope.
Oh.
Middle of the afternoon.
Middle of the afternoon.
The Maytag dryer was only 2 years old.
Yeah, dryers are a big one. But we'll talk about that a little bit more. I'm glad you're safe though. So the difference with fire now is fire is a lot different than it was 40 years ago. We have these things called open floor plans in these new homes, right? So to keep fire inside, what's the best thing to do is shut your door, right? But now all these open floor plans are all open. And so what does fire do? Spread, right? It spreads throughout the house quickly. And then these synthetic materials in our clothes, right? They burn a lot hotter and faster than they did 40 years ago, which is sad, but it's not even just in our clothes. It's in the carpet. It's in our furniture. Everything's cheaply made right now, so those synthetic materials burn a lot faster. And then we know that smoke kills a lot more people than actual fire does. We actually lost 2 seniors a little over a year ago in a fire because they found them at the front door. They had an older home and they had a lock that you needed the key from the inside to get out. And they found them inside the door and the key was on the ground. I'm sure you would think about it, a fire, black, right? Can you see? And they probably, in a panic, lost the key and they found them right in the front door. So we'll talk about that. And then when a fire starts, you have less than 2 minutes to get out of your home safely because of these synthetic materials and these things. Now, I am going to ask a question. How many of you guys sleep with your door shut at night?
Your bedroom door?
Your bedroom door. Okay. So the recommendation is called close before you doze. It talks about that can make a 900-degree difference in a fire. So we've seen total homes destroyed by fire, but that door is that barrier to keep the smoke out longer and that fire. So I recommend, not only to you, but my preschool families, every family, I recommend it's called close before you doze. It can make a 900-degree difference in the fire. Because you got to think, most houses, right? Fires start in the garage or where your laundry room is at the other end of the house, right? And that smoke travels down your hallway and then right in your bedroom if that door's not shut, right? And we know that most fires start at night. A lot of fires start at night, okay? I'll have it here. Okay. So does anybody think about what the top causes of home fires are? What's number one?
Toaster?
Huh?
Cooking?
Cooking, toaster. Yeah, cooking is number one. What do you think number two is? I don't think you guys are gonna guess.
Dryer or
No.
electrical?
Electrical's up there, but actually, you know what number two is? How many of you guys have a space heater? Space heaters is number two. And then what do you think number three is? Huh?
Dryer.
No, actually it's smoking. Do I have any smokers in here?
I'm not at one, but.
Yeah, smokers. So smoking is number three. It used to be number one, but now it's number three, which is good. Less people are smoking. So cooking, space heaters, and then smoking, but also electrical fires. And then candles. A lot of these senior centers around town now don't allow candles to be burned in your senior homes. Okay. All right. So I'll just quickly go over, if you smoke, you need to smoke outside, smoking outside, and then having a deep ashtray. I think I brought one with me today. So a nice deep ashtray that you can wet your butts, because we have a lot of fires by people thinking their butts are not hot. And then what do? They dump those in the trash can, and then trash cans start on fire. You never want to smoke in bed or near and around oxygen, okay? We have fires started every year. Can you believe it? With them smoking near an oxygen tank. I know. And then you never want to leave a candle unattended. I'm going to use myself. When I was before I worked for Tucson Fire, so I'll preface it with that. It was Christmas time. We burned pretty smelling candles at Christmas. I had a 3-wick candle in a big jar, and it was over in the corner. I had left the room, and I was unaware that you should trim the wick of 3-wick candles. And so the wicks had gotten too long, and I was in the other room, and the smoke alarm went off. And I was like, what's going on? So I went in there. There was no fire, but it had put off too much smoke. And here is my sheer curtains right next to this 3-wick candle. So thank God I had working smoke alarms in my home, and it alerted me. But again, it can just be that quickly. So you make sure you don't want to leave even jar candles unattended, okay? Okay. So number 2, space heaters need space. That's key. So you want to make sure that there's 3 feet of space in every direction. So an arm's length away in all directions around you. We think that space heaters are a great tool, right? As we get older, we have restless leg syndrome, and our legs get cold, and we want that warmth, right? Space heaters are a great tool. But now new space heaters have those controls in them that if they tip over or something falls on them, they'll automatically shut off. But how many of us buy something new if something old is still working, right? So a lot of these old appliances that we have, including space heaters, they may not have the automatic shut off. So again, safety, right? But safety costs. And so you always am like, oh, an old one's working just fine. I don't have any problem with it. But make sure that you turn those space heaters off when you go to bed. That there are 3 feet of space around you. Because think about it, we keep it in our room or next to our favorite chair where we sleep, right? How easy is it to toss a blanket over that space heater? Or the pillow fall next to it or something. And those space heaters get really hot. So you want to make sure and have those things away from anything that can burn. And you want to make sure and plug those space heaters directly into an outlet. You don't ever want to put them in an extension, okay? Why do you think that is? A lot of those again, old extensions, right? If they're older, they don't have those surge protectors inside. And if there was a surge or we had some kind of lightning strike or something like that, that could cause a fire as well. All right. So cooking fires is number one. So right now you never want to leave cooking unattended. That is as simple as, we all think, oh, something's going to be in the pot for a long time. I can go sit down. But what happens as we get older when we go sit in a chair for too long? We fall asleep, right? And so even if you think it's going to be 10 minutes, it's going to be 15 minutes, please use a timer. Stay in the kitchen. You don't ever want to leave that cooking unattended. It's almost maybe eventually it might get where we can wear those pretty sleeves, right? Ladies, we wear those longer sleeves. And then we go over to turn on the stove. What happens? Yeah, that synthetic material goes up really quickly. So you want to be cautious. Make sure that you push your sleeves up nice and high. You want to use oven mitts and stuff, but not keep them too close to the stove. As seniors, we downsize a lot. We move into smaller places. We move into smaller homes. But we still have all the stuff, right? So we have those oven mitts, those wooden spoons, and they get a little too close to the burners, and then they can catch fire. We also have that pretty towel in front of the oven. How many of you guys put a towel in front of your oven? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's real easy to close that oven and it get caught in there, right? So all of those things, but the easiest thing to do if there's a cooking fire is what?
Put the lid on.
The lid. If something is in the oven, do we open the oven if it's on fire? No. Keep it shut. Needs air, right, to grow. There's no air, it'll snuff itself out, okay? So I say, to even me, last night I was cooking something with grease and I took the lid out. Now, did I use the lid? No. So after I was done cooking, I put it right back in the cupboard. But it's just a good habit for everyone, not just seniors, but everyone, to keep the lid to that pot close by, and then you just have it right there next to you. Because it doesn't take very long, remember, less than 2 minutes. The other thing is if a fire does start and it's bigger than a small trash can, so I always say from your knees down, right? That's a small trash can. If that fire gets bigger than that, it is no longer your job to try to put it out. It's a call to 911 and you guys get out and stay out, okay? Don't try to be the hero. Things can be replaced, people can't, all right? And then, like I said, not only do you fall asleep, if we sit down, but also a lot of these medications we take make us extra drowsy. Or, right, if we have that glass of wine or beer, all those things mixed with medication can also make us drowsy, all right? So just be aware of all of those kinds of things, okay? Okay. So number 4, if we do catch on fire, we learn when we're kids, right? We stop, drop, and roll on the ground. But as we're seniors, right? And it's a lot harder for us to get down on the ground and roll around based on our limitations. We have canes, walkers, things like that, right? But again, it could be as simple as having a blanket or even the lid. If something catches on fire, could we do that really quickly and snuff it out? A blanket, moving it really fast. Anything like that to cover if you catch yourself on fire quickly, all right? You want to roll back and forth, but remember, the most important thing is to cover your hands over your face, right? Because still, if that fire, it's still the smoke that can get into our lungs. We always want to make sure and protect our face, okay? And then if we do get burned, it takes 3 to 5 minutes to stop the burn process. So how many of us have burned ourselves and we put it under there for 30 seconds and we think it's done, right? But it literally takes 3 to 5 minutes to stop that burn process. My dad fell asleep, and then he woke up and he was doing one of his puzzles in the middle of the night, and he was using a pen and the pen stopped working. So this crazy man decided to get one of those little blow torches for a creme brulee and try to light the pin on fire so that the ink would start working again. And he put it down on the TV tray next to his chair, and he leaned back and he fell asleep and knocked that over and started our room on fire. And my mom and I was home, and my mom and I were in the thing. He's like, the house is on fire, and so we took off. Mind you, it burned his leg because his leg was open, and his leg had knocked over the fire. He had gotten the carpet out, mostly. I went out there and there was a few little things. I got him out quickly, but he's like, I'm fine. But what I did know to do was I doused his leg in water, put it in a bucket, and said, sit down for 10 minutes and just put your leg. He's like, oh, I'm fine. This is a man that got electrocuted, and it went in one finger and across his body. So, he's fine from a burn on his leg. But the hospital said it was the best thing I could have ever done because it stopped him from having third-degree burns. And he only had to have a little bit of screen graft for his leg because I had stopped the burn process, because I made his leg. Also, another tool that I always say, seniors always say, oh, well, mayonnaise or butter to stop a burn. No. The best thing you can do is water, cool water, or I always say aloe vera is a great tool. I always say everybody should have an aloe vera plant outside their home. My mom, had a pressure cooker, and she got a bean stuck up in the pressure, and she went to open it, and all that scalding hot water hit her right here. First thing she did was slice open that aloe vera plant and put it all over. She didn't have any scarring and hardly even any blistering because that aloe vera plant was such a great tool. Okay? So just medical help right away. All right? Okay, so smoke alarm and carbon monoxide alarms save lives. You want to install a smoke alarm in every bedroom where someone is sleeping and in the hallway. Now, if you have a smaller home, sometimes people will just have one in the hallway and not in the bedrooms. But if you have a bigger home, you're going to want one in every bedroom and in the hallway. You never want to put it in a corner of a bedroom. You want to put it inside the door, close to like where the smoke would come in. You don't want it on the other side of your room. You don't ever want it up in a corner. They call that a dead space. So literally like above your door or right above on the ceiling. You want to make sure that you test those smoke alarms once a month. But we don't want you on ladders, right? We don't want you anywhere near that. So use your cane to your advantage. Hit that button. Make sure it goes off. Beep, beep, beep. And you're good to go. Have your grandkids test it. They love to help do stuff like that. Have your son, daughter, check it once a month. Now, they make great alarms now that have batteries that last 10 years. You literally take them off the wall. You don't have to change out the battery once a year. And then after 10 years, they expire. Even if they still work after 10 years, those little sensors inside start to collect dust and they don't work as well. So you're going to want to change out your smoke alarms. If you go, oh, I think they're okay. If your smoke alarms are no longer white, it's time to get new ones. Okay? Tucson Fire does have a program where if you're in need of financial help to get smoke alarms, we can change those out for you. Okay? So just know that that's a program we offer. If you or your husband has hearing aids, and if they take them out, they're completely deaf. We also partner with the Arizona Burn Foundation, and they can provide a strobe light smoke alarm for your home, as well as a bed shaker. It's a little puck that you sleep with under your pillow, and it shakes you awake in case there was a fire. Okay, so that is also something that Arizona Burn provides to us. It's all done by Bluetooth now. It's crazy what you can do now.
What's it called again?
It's called a bed shaker,
No, the place where you get them.
Arizona Burn Foundation. And you can call us as well. We partner with the Arizona Burn Foundation, and if we say we need one, they can get us one for free. We've installed them several places. We install them for deaf, or if you have a cochlear implant, or even a hearing aid. If you take it out and you can't hear, then we need another tool to help you. This is a big one, especially as we get older and collect more things. You want to make sure you plan and practice your escape from a fire. When you were young and your kids were little, you talked about having an escape plan, right? And you had 2 ways out of every room in case of a fire, either by a door or a window. But when we think about getting older, we don't need to know about that anymore. But think, what about if our grandkids are visiting, right? And in case of a fire, you would want them to know where to meet you outside your home in case of a fire. You need to teach everyone to get out and stay out, call 911, and have a meeting place, whether that be at your mailbox or the neighbor's saguaro on the other side of the street, somewhere. First of all, because let's say your grandkids get out first and you're still in the house. Then they can say, my grandma's not out yet and she's still inside, right? This is where that close before you doze comes in, right? Because if you can't get out, if you go over to your door that should be closed at night, and you always want to feel it with the back of your hand because that's more sensitive to heat. And then if it's hot, do we open that door? No. So we know that door we can't go out of. So then we need to get to a window and make noise, smash it with your cane or walker, somewhere where you can get air and the emergency services can come get you, okay? But talk about those escape plans with people that come to visit, right? We're not having a lot of fires in homes anymore. Thank God to tools and things like that. We still have them once in a while, right? We hope we never have to use these escape plans, but it's always better to talk about them, be aware of them, okay? A lot of these older homes we live in have bars on the windows, right? And we can't, a lot of times if you don't open those, they can rust shut. So at least once a year, try to open the windows in your bedroom. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I had my window open in my bedroom, right? It's hot. We don't want the air conditioning to go out, but test those, okay? At least in bedrooms where somebody is sleeping, all right? And then, like I said, if that alarm sounds, you don't ever, especially in our senior communities, right? I teach classes in the senior facilities and they go, oh, the smoke alarm goes off all the time. We just ignore it. Is that a good idea? No, because what if that one time it's not a false alarm, right? So if you hear the alarm, just like me, I was like, what's that sound? I don't know. But go check it out. Get out. It's better to get out, at least your hallway. If you're in a facility or your home, get out, then check it out, right? Because how much time do we have if there's a fire? 2 minutes. And that's not very long, right? Okay. If you can't get out, you want to shelter in place. You want to close as many doors as possible. Place a towel or your comforter or blanket under the door. And then get to a window and call 911, all right? If you live in a senior facility, a lot of the seniors are like, well, they close those doors at the end of my hallways. Well, that doesn't mean that you can't still get out. The stairwells, you can still get out. But in case of a fire and the alarms go off, the first thing that happens is all those doors shut at the end of hallways. Because if there is a fire, they want to keep it out from that floor, right? But you can still press and go out those doors if needed, all right? And if you can't get out based on a limitation, walker, cane, whatever, just get somewhere where somebody can hear you, okay? Keep as many barriers from you and the fire as possible, all right? We know our emergency number, it's 911. Just to give you a little reference, Tucson Fire had over 107,000 calls last year, with more than 70 of those being EMS calls, which are medical calls. So think about that. We don't have a lot of fires anymore. And if we are, we have lots of tools to get them out. But again, we are busy. We're in the city. So, and then you just want to make sure and be outside your home. This is where I talk about it's important to have your phone nearby. Don't charge it on your bed because those phones get hot, especially if we have old ones. Those batteries get hot and they can start a fire on your bed. But having it close by. I also talk about having a to-go bag. Get a gallon Ziploc bag. Put a couple of days worth of your prescriptions, an old pair of glasses, your contact numbers for your son and daughter, maybe even a little carabiner flashlight. That's it. Maybe even a list of your doctors, okay? Because if you were displaced from a fire, ma'am, you were in that fire. Were you able to go back in after there was a fire?
No.
No, because it's toxic. They won't let you back in. So most of us, me included, we take prescriptions every day, right? And some of us depend on those prescriptions every day. And if we lose them in the fire, how long you guys know how long it takes to get a hold of a doctor these days, right? At least 48 hours. Well, if we don't have those prescriptions, what are we going to do? So I always say just have a couple of days worth, just in case, in the little Ziploc bag, and then you can just in your nightstand somewhere where you know where it is and can grab it and go. Because everything else can be replaced, but doctors take time to get a hold of, medicines get time, have time to refill them. So just have it to go bag. Okay. Okay. This is where the flashlight, glasses, walker, cane, scooter, we want to make sure and have those things also close to your bed as well. All right. We don't want the cane way over there. We can't get to it. All right. Does anybody have any questions about fires? Okay. Yeah.
Many years ago, the fire department in Tucson went around to the homes to see if anything was plugged in that shouldn't be. And I always left my toaster. You know, iron toaster, they don't have shut off.
So, probably because I work for Tucson Fire Department, I unplug my toaster every time I use it. It's just a good habit. Now, people sometimes say that about coffee makers. I don't see the need of that, especially if you have the Keurig ones with the little pods and stuff. But even other coffee makers, a lot of those, unless they're old, have automatic shutoffs, okay? Irons, they have automatic shutoffs, but I still unplug my iron as soon as because what, they can fall off the ironing board and then what? Your carpet catches on fire, right?
I have a little thing that I use, and it's called a tea kettle. It's a whistling tea
Uh-huh.
kettle. And when I take a cooking pan off the stove, I always use the front burner.
Mhm.
Take it off the stove, I automatically bring that tea kettle over and turn off the burner. If I forget to turn off the burner, that tea kettle's gonna let me know.
Oh,
I do the same thing.
Good idea.
really?
Yeah.
It's a very loud tea kettle that I have. It will tell me if I forget to turn it off.
That's a great idea. I'm going to use that in my senior classes now as a good tool. I never thought about that, right?
Yeah, and it also helps protect me from getting burned, because it's a front burner and it's an electric stove,
Yeah,
so it doesn't cool off automatically right away.
yeah,
So that way I have something covering that burner, so, because my sink is right next to it. So if I move my arm or something, I don't get burned.
Yeah.
Because the tea kettle's there.
yeah. I mean, that's a great idea. I used to have one of those tea kettles that would do that, that would be loud and stuff if it would go off. And it is super loud, way louder than some of these timers, right?
Oh,
all right.
Yeah.
That's all.
So we're gonna move on to falls. How many in this room have fallen? Okay. Those of you that have fallen, how many of you guys are scared to fall again? I mean, I fell off a roof, and I have a partial knee replacement because of it. So 1 in 3 older adults is gonna have a fall, sending 1 in 17 of those to the emergency room. Okay. But what happens is after our first fall, your chance of falling again doubles. Why do you think that is?
Weakness.
bracing?
Well,
Because your risk factors are still there.
right? We fall. We're scared of falling. So are we as active? No. Are we more sedentary? Yeah. Then what happens to our muscles? They're not as strong, right? And then it's just another vicious cycle. So after your first fall, you have your fear of falling, you have your decreased activity, decrease in muscle tone, and then an increase in risk in falls again. I spoke at a symposium a couple of years ago at the University of Arizona, and it was all on falls, and they had all these doctors from all over the country saying that they are finding that a lot of prescriptions that seniors take for high blood pressure, for heart, for different ailments that affect seniors, some brands of pharmaceuticals are showing an increased risk of falls. So if you do fall, you want to communicate that to all of your doctors. Because, right, we see doctors for kidney and heart and different things in primary care, even our eye specialists. But if we communicate that just to our eye specialist, it's not getting around to all of our doctors. And you may have changed a prescription for something for your kidneys, and one of the side effects is an increased risk of falls. And then they're finding that some different pharmaceuticals mixed are increasing our risk of falls. So if you have your first fall, please communicate that to all of your doctors, okay? Because it may be something as easy as, let's change your prescription, okay? But the key, one thing is to have, to exercise regularly. That doesn't mean go out and take a high impact aerobics class. That can be as simple as one of these chairs, getting up and down out of that chair 10 times, right? 10 times in the morning, 10 times in the evening. What is that keeping? Our quads strong, right? It doesn't have to be high impact, just movement. The more we keep our bodies moving, the better off we are, okay? Tai Chi is actually a proven way of lowering the risk of falls. I know Maya has a great lady that she's had here before. That lady is got better balance than I do. She's unbelievable. And so, but you can take a Tai Chi class on YouTube, online. It's really great exercise, especially for seniors. Okay. And then talk to your doctor about what would be good for you. Okay, they're there to help you. All right. There is something that I'm hoping will come to Arizona eventually. It's called Nimble, NYNBOL. It's not something we can get here in the state of Arizona, but it's in the state of Colorado. They have found studies where it's an app on your phone, and something about when you do this app on your phone, it has you click on different buttons, and what that does is it rewires your brain, and it can help lower the risk of falls in seniors. I mean, technology is great. We yell at it sometimes, but there are things that they're doing because they're finding that improved balance has something to do with wires in your brain. Okay. So hopefully one day that program can come to Arizona. But of those of you guys that have fallen, How many of you guys were in a hurry when you fell? I was. I was leaving for Germany in 2 days. And I had been up and down the ladder hanging Christmas lights. And it was the last trip up the ladder to plug in the last thing. And I was using an old ladder at my house that one of the rungs was kind of loose, but my dad had put some mule tape around it and tied it really tight. But that ladder had been sitting out in the sun. And on that last trip up the ladder, that rope loosened and it went down like this, and I was almost to the top of the roof and I fell down.
Oh.
Live by myself. I'm calling my friend in Illinois. She's like, "You're not making sense." I'm like, driving myself to the hospital, drove myself to Northwest. My brother's calling me saying, "I heard you fell." I'm like, "I'm fine." I'm walking in the emergency room for the next hour, making sure that I can still walk. Because I'm getting on a plane in 2 days to go to Germany for 2.5 weeks. And come to find out that they said I didn't break it, but with more discovery, I had a fracture in my ankle and torn ligaments all in my ankle that I'm still dealing with. And 2 years later, I'm still dealing with it, but I survived and I didn't break anything. I still went on that trip to Germany. So thank God for boots in December that were laced up to keep my ankle tight. But I was in a hurry, and it just literally takes that fast. This is a great tool, right? But if we leave it on the counter and then we're like, "Oh, we got to catch that phone." This is great technology for that, because it's not like the old days when we had a regular phone. If we miss the call, we can go right there and it'll tell you exactly who called us and we can call them right back. Okay? We have a tendency to fall when we're in a hurry. So at night or when we get out of our chair, take a second, get your balance, get your legs and hips underneath you, and then walk. Okay? You want to make sure and stand, get your surroundings, and then move forward. All right? It can be even tripping over a blanket when we're changing the sheets. It doesn't take much. Okay, keep stairs, pathways, and walkways clear. That's easier said than done, right? When we get older, we collect more things, and our piles get bigger, right? And we have a tendency to limit our walkways and our space in our homes. So we want to make sure that we keep pathways clear. Get rid of old books, magazines that are by your favorite chair. You want to make sure that shoes, when we take off our shoes, I take my shoes off at the door, but a lot of people kick them off right there in front of their favorite recliner. And then what happens? You forget they're there, and then you walk around and you trip over your shoes. Pets. Where do pets want to be? Right next to your feet. And if it's dark or we're not paying attention, we can trip over those pets. It's almost the holidays. We decorate, right? So we have things plugged in. Lots of plugs. Lots of electrical cords. And we want to make sure to put those back behind things where they don't stick out. We can catch our foot on that, all right? Anything that would block our pathways, we want to open those up so that we have a clear pathway. Handrails. Anywhere there's a handrail, we want to make sure and use it. Whether that's at home, in your senior community, wherever. You want to use the handrails up and down, not just up or not just down, both ways. Okay. We never know if our ankle or our knee is just going to give out a second. You know, as we get older, these body parts start wearing out. Now I've got a new one, but I'm hoping it doesn't wear out. But again, right? And if we don't move a lot, right, those things start failing on us. You also want to make more trips with lighter loads. How many of you guys are guilty of going to the grocery store and it's 105 outside and you have all your grocery bags in the back of your car and you're like, okay, I can get them. So we have like 5 bags on this arm and 5 bags on this arm. And then we go, let's go. We can get them all in the house at once. But what does that do? That limits our view of where we're walking. And we don't see our pet, or we don't see the crack in the sidewalk or the lip at the door. Okay? So even though it sounds awful that we want to make more trips, it's better to make more trips with lighter loads so that we can see where we're walking and make sure our pathways are clear. Okay? Light up your home. How many of you guys have night lights? Night lights are our friends. I know PCOA gives away night lights. You can get them anywhere. I have wonderful ones that are motion detectors. They have them at Costco. So I have, if I walk in front of them at night, they light up. So they're dark until I walk in front of them. It's a great tool. They have them at Costco and Sam's Club. You want to make sure and light up pathways where you walk in the middle of the night, whether that be to your bathroom, whether that be to the refrigerator because you're a night snacker and you want to snack in the middle of the night. Anywhere you're going to walk where it would be dark. All right. Anybody live in a house with stairs? No, that's good. You want to make sure the stairs are lit from the top and the bottom, even outside. Like if there's stairs to get up in your yard somewhere, make sure you light them both on the path up and the path down. And then you want to make sure and see an eye specialist once a year. Have a lot of seniors that say, oh, my prescription hasn't changed in 20 years, right? But a lot of these medications that we take adjust our eyesight, right? If we're diabetic, if our blood sugar is not under control, that can also affect your blood or your eyesight. So you want to make sure and see that eye specialist once a year. Communicate if you've fallen. Communicate if you're not stable, okay? There's things that they can do for you, all right? Okay, how many of you guys have non-slip mats in your tub or shower? Do they look like this? Something like this? Well, if they do look something like this, you're going to want to make sure you take them up and out of your tub every single time you use it. Turn it upside down and out of your tub or shower so that it can dry out. Because these little things get mildewy real quick. And then this thing becomes more slippery than your tub or shower was without it. Okay? So these are a great tool. You just need to make sure and take them up and out of your shower every single time you use them. Okay? You want to make sure that you have grab bars in around your toilet seat if you need them, inside the shower, outside the shower. If you're in financial need, we can get these installed for you. We can get equipment for you. We want seniors to be able to stay in their homes as long as possible, right? Tucson is a big senior community, and we love it. But we want to make sure and be able to give you those tools to keep you safe and in your homes as long as possible. All right? You want to make sure and wipe up spills immediately. We drop an ice cube and we think it's going to melt in 10 minutes and it'll be gone. Well, what happens? Then your phone's across the room and you forget that that water was there 10 minutes ago and then you slip and fall. Okay. So wipe up spills immediately, whether that be from a pet that knocks over their water, anything, an ice cube that drops, whatever. I heard from one senior, she's like, oh, I just kick an ice cube under my refrigerator when it falls out. I was like, well, you know, that ice melts and it could go outside the boundaries of your refrigerator, but still, you know. Yes.
Where do you go getting a grab bar?
Grab bar? I'm sure if you talk to Maya here, we partner with different agencies where we can get medical equipment if needed. Okay. And we can even have somebody help you install them if necessary. Okay? Just as long as you own your home.
If you're interested, I used an independent guy. He was great. Everything's in his truck. He's in and out. He cleans up. He's been in town a long time.
I'd like to get his name, yeah.
Yeah, it took like no time. It wasn't that expensive.
Okay.
Not going to take away business.
Oh, TMC is not going to charge you either.
Okay.
So, like, we partner with different. No, but again, it depends on if we can get the equipment because it's a different free agency that we can get medical equipment from. But sometimes they may not have what we're looking for. So, just an option. Yes.
In an apartment complex, you might want to check with the office before you.
That's what I said. You have to own your home.
Yeah.
So you have to own your home. And a lot of those senior communities already have them installed. Like I just was at a senior facility on the east side, and every apartment has grab bars. Every apartment has like a shower chair. They have grippers on the thing because it's made for seniors. But if you're in just a regular apartment, yes, you have to get permission to install that. All right. Be aware of uneven surfaces in or around your home. I'm sure right now out in this parking lot, there are cracks in the sidewalk. There are cracks in the pavement. Cracks are everywhere. They're in our driveways. They're everywhere. And for me, who was an athlete for many years, my ankles are already weak. So it doesn't take much for my ankle to turn over. All right. Rugs are not your friends. Please get rid of the rugs in your home. They'll get caught on your chair there. They'll get caught on your shoes. They're just not a good thing to have anymore in your house. Okay. I know we want to keep our rugs, our carpet good and free from stains, but inevitably the rug, even if you have the little grippers on the bottom, what happens? The little edge comes up, and it doesn't take much for your shoe to get caught underneath there. Okay. As our homes age, so does our carpet. So a lot of carpets get like a little wrinkle in the carpet. Make sure you have your son or daughter stretch that out and re-staple it so that it's not coming up and is uneven. You want to make sure and watch outside. Even the planters, right? They're always on the sides of the sidewalks. And if you're not paying attention and you're on your phone, we can fall off into that little area where the flowers are, or whatever, the little planter. Okay? So just be aware of those kind of things. And you want to make sure if you do go up and visit the snow, that all of that stuff is extra slick as well. You go up to the mountains. Okay. Well-fitting shoes, right? We want to make sure that shoes are non-slip. If you are wearing a pair of shoes every day, it takes about 6 months to wear the tread off the bottom. So I have these well over, and you can see the tread. I need new tread because they're slick on the bottom. All right. So even if our shoes look clean, I wash mine all the time. They look clean, but I need new ones because the tread is worn off. And it doesn't take very much to slip even on your rug, slip on a tile, on your wood floors, whatever. Okay. You want to make sure and wear lower heels. You want to make sure that you've got nice thick soles on your shoes, that there's no chance of them falling off. I'm not going to say not to wear flip-flops. We love flip-flops. We live in Arizona, but they are not safe as we get older, right? They can catch, they'll catch on something, they'll fall off our foot, and then we fall. A lot of seniors wear Crocs. Crocs are great. They're nice and squishy, but if you don't replace them, the treads become as bald as tires on the bottom, and then you slip and fall. Okay. If you are falling a lot, you may be able to communicate with a doctor. They may be able to give you a prescription for nice thick-soled shoes or something to help you. All right. It's almost fuzzy sock season, maybe here in the next 2 months, maybe. We want to make sure and always have the grippers on the bottom of our fuzzy socks. All right, because those on carpet and on tile are super slick. All right. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Where do you get those smoke alarms with the 10-year batteries? Costco? With it?
Costco, Sam's Club, Walmart, all of them.
With a 10-year battery?
All of them.
Mhm.
Almost all of them now are 10-year battery. Almost all of them.
And they say so on the package.
Yeah,
They what?
they say so on the package. 10-year battery.
Great.
Yeah, that's the only way to go anymore. Nobody wants to change out a battery. I used to talk about changing out your battery every year on your birthday because you're getting a year older and so is your smoke alarms. But if it's got a 10-year battery, then you don't have to worry about it. I installed some smoke alarms recently and the senior goes, well, this will last me my lifetime. I won't have to do it again. And I was like, don't say that. We'll be here in 10 years. And they were like, nope, so. Have a list of your current medications and doses. This is where I talk about a great tool that we provide. So this is called a file of life. We teach our firefighters about these to look for these on your refrigerator. If EMS was to show up at your house and you're unable to speak, how are they going to know any of your ailments, any of your prescriptions? So this is a tool to be able to do that. It talks about your medical data. It talks about your medical conditions, allergies. There's a little place for your medication. Now, mind you, my vitamins wouldn't go on that. So what I always tell people is have your son or daughter, grandkids, create a spreadsheet for you. Put in your medications and your doses and how many times a day you do it. That way, if the doctor changes your prescriptions, somebody can just go in there on the spreadsheet, change it, and you can print another copy. Because as you all know, when you go to the doctor, what's the first thing they ask you to do? Can you provide a list of your medications, right? So the easiest way to do that is create a spreadsheet and have it printed for you. I had done that for my parents. They had like 10 copies in a file that they would just take with them to the doctor.
Where do you get that?
I'm going to give you one today.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm going to give you one today.
I have 2 sheets of paper with my DNR on my refrigerator.
And some people do that. You can also put that, this pocket allows you to fold up a piece of paper and put it in the back side of this as well. Okay. So I'm going to give you one of these. And then you want to make sure that if there is somebody you need to call, that it's on your refrigerator as well too. These are a great tool as well. So I always say, and I can help you if you guys need to know how, but a lot of these phones have like in case of emergency that you can put a little star by somebody's name, or you can put in your phone ICE in case of emergency. My parents were killed in an automobile accident and out of state, and that's the way they got a hold of me right away, was they looked at my mom's phone and it said ICE Janella. And that's how they got a hold of me right away. So it's kind of a little thing that we don't want, if something bad were to happen, it take a long time to get a hold of our loved ones, right? We want to know as soon as possible. All right. You want to make sure and review your medications, like I said, with your doctor. Some can make you sleepy. Some can make us fall more. Many of our medications, if we mix them with alcohol, make us worse and more sleepy, more at fall risk. You also want to make sure you take your medications as directed. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, oh, I forgot that one. I'll double up it the next time, right? We've all done it. So try it. Set a timer on your phone. Set a timer to take those prescriptions when they're supposed to be taken, all right?
You know what, people should go to the same pharmacy, because the pharmacy can tell our medicine. Last year I had 2 medicines that were prescribed by urgent care, and I couldn't take it with other medicines.
Yeah, that's a great thing. If you do go to the same pharmacy, they'll say something like, oh, this medication doesn't mix with like grapefruit juice or things like that. So if you do, that is a great idea, is to always go to the same pharmacy, okay? Because they will reach out to you. If you are at risk of falls, there are the medical alert devices. If you communicate that to your doctor, a lot of them are paid for by Medicare or your insurance. Some are not, and you can get prescriptions for those, like at CVS. You can get a medical alert device, and there's a monthly subscription. So that also is a great tool. A lot of these senior centers that are built for seniors even have like an automatic like pull thing in their house, like that if you were to fall, they know right away that you can pull something in the apartment. Or even that they carry one. I was in another senior community and they had ones that are on their keys or that they wear all the time, which is great. And then if they fall anywhere,
Isn't there a watch too?
yeah. Oh, if you have an Apple Watch, you can call anybody from an Apple Watch. That's also a great tool for seniors. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions about falls?
Can do online questions first. Maya will ask.
Okay.
Hi. Hey, Janella, if you want to come over to the computer and then I can ask any questions that came in. Is it safer to wear shoes or to be barefoot in your house?
I didn't hear that. What was that again?
So is it safer to wear shoes or is it better to be barefoot in your house? I know you said you throw off your shoes, but that's one of the questions that came in.
I don't think there's one way or the other difference. I think it's personal preference. For me, I take my shoes off because I like bare feet and I don't want to get my carpet dirty, but I don't think it's one way or the other. I think it's the type of shoes you wear that's more important.
Okay, great. I know we have the No Falls Fair coming up. You will be there as well for that. So I hope that everyone has an opportunity to participate in that as well. So I will go ahead. I don't have any other questions that have come in. Oh, I just have one. What other useful tips for keeping cords out of the way? Is there an accessory that would help with that so that people aren't tripping over any cords in their homes?
There are tools, like little sticky tabs and stuff that you can put like on the back of cabinets and stuff that will keep the cords out of reach. They'll keep them more organized, but that's about it. Yeah.
You could use a paper towel roll, the cardboard, and put your cord in that.
Yeah, paper towel roll and put your cord in that. I always just say utilize your grandchildren. That's always what I say. Have them move the table out so that you can put that cord back behind a table, even if it won't fit. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Get them out of the way so that they're not in your way, of course. Yeah. Yes. And I know, I think one of the biggest thing that really comes up is our pets. So just being careful when you are getting ready to stand, that your pet is not right under your feet as they like to be, is always important too. So Janella, I want to thank you so much for being here. I'm going to wrap up with our online audience. I will turn it over to you for any questions in person. Again, thank you for being here.
Okay, I have some tools also as well for you guys here that I'm going to give out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again for joining us today. We hope that you'll come back to see us again. Not in addition to all of our fall prevention classes that we're holding, we also have our new survivorship series that is going to be starting. So our next talk will be next week. It is Watch Your Step, Fall Prevention in Motion. That'll be with our with Geneva Kaplan, who is with our TMC outpatient therapy on Wednesday, September 10th at 2 p.m. If you're interested in that class, please give us a call at our phone number, which is 520-324-1960, and we'd be happy to get you registered. In addition, I know I shared about the No Falls Fair. That is coming up at the Tucson Jewish Community Center on Wednesday, September 17th. from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. We ask that you register because there are some mini fall risk assessments that we'll be doing. And so we're just sort of pacing folks to come in so that they can get those assessments done. In addition to that, though, there are several resources such as the fire department that will be there as well. So you can come anytime for that. The phone number again is 520-324-1960. We look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for being here.